So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
Hello, thanks for joining us once again for on last week's episode. And unlike the dead cat underneath Logan's chair, we are really here. We are really back. So D, how's it going?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
You're
Let's
not
just
seeing things.
I have not seen anything. Yeah, the
You're not
Schrodinger's cat of capitalism. No, I'm not seeing things.
not imagining things. You're not mistaking your wife for your child or your child for your wife. I
Which
guess
could
that's the way it
which
went.
could get problematic. And it happened once before too. Like, don't forget about that. Yeah. So it could get problematic if you mistake your youngest daughter for your wife.
You're a little
But yeah,
weird.
so yeah, kind of weird. So as we always do, let's hop into the general impressions. What do you think about this episode?
I truly do not know how I feel about this episode. Um, because it felt like so much. Um, but it also felt like another bottle episode. And I'm starting to think maybe the show is just set in this way. I didn't think it was a negative thing, but it was a lot going on. So I don't know if I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it more than anything else, but I always enjoy them. So I guess I'm just trying to rate it towards against all the rest of the episodes. And with that said, this one was just, it was just okay for me.
It was hilarious to me. Like
Oh, that too.
this was almost like an episode of Veep, as weird as it is to say. Like I was laughing this entire episode, but I was like, wait, like there are so many things that are being implied in this episode that had to take the back seat simply because everything happening, like every single thing happening was so funny. So yeah, I like this episode, but I do agree that it does kind of seem like they're pumping the brakes. But for context, I will grade this on the curve because this season was filmed like in the height of COVID. So obviously they had to
Mhm.
change a lot of things around. That's why he talks to the kids on the phone. That's why Sandy is now, for some inexplicable reason, a vegetable,
A
even though
vegetable?
this
Yeah.
season takes, yeah, this season happens a few days after season three, yet season two, excuse me, yet he's a vegetable in like X amount of
Mhm.
days. Don't know how that happened, but yeah, so
Yeah.
so yeah, that explains a lot of the weird things going on. But yeah, I did think this episode was funny to say the least. And it answers a few questions that we had from last week, but it also gives us a few more questions to ponder. So I know last week we talked about cousin Greg and the JDA and how they kind of left that open ended. They didn't say one way or another if he committed. So we didn't see it. So we were to assume that he didn't commit. But it turns out that he actually did. How do you feel about that?
I'm again, I know that you have this idea that Greg is a genius. I just don't believe it. I can't call him an idiot because he's made moves that make sense. So it's very clear he's not an idiot. I think he's like his grandfather said, he's just very unserious. And that's a problem because these are very serious issues that he's dealing with. And there are serious repercussions for actions that he's had a very direct hand in. And he doesn't seem to be grasping it, or he thinks he has more leverage than he does. I really just don't understand Greg. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, Greg at this point. I really just really don't get him at all. Do you think he signed it because he felt pressured? Because that's kind of the explanation he gave Kendall. And I'm starting to wonder if I'm just a bad person because because when Kendall threatened to burn him, I was just kind of like, I mean, I probably would have done the same thing because I don't get what he's doing, and maybe that's the problem. I don't understand what Greg is doing at all, at all. I don't get it.
So, all right, so I do think he's starting to get kind of lost in the sauce because when he was able to be
Okay.
in a position where he could just stand in the middle, yeah, that was cool. But now he has to make a decision on either side. So the one decision he made, whether he was pressured or not, he burns Kendall and essentially burns his grandpa. So now he's
Mhm.
stuck with that choice. He can, which considering it's a legally binding document, I don't think there's any take backsies on those. So you're just kind of stuck with this position now.
A and I think that may be another reason why he annoys me so much because I don't like a, Switzerland type of dude in situations like this.
Mm,
Like, you need to make a decision. And again, like you said, if he's in a position where he can be Switzerland, fine. You can be in the middle and you're not really affecting either situation, then cool. But it felt like he was making a point to make it so that he would have to pick eventually. And it seems he seems very naive about the fact that he would have to pick. Almost like he didn't think that they would come to that point. I'm like, Greg, you had to know at some point you have to pick a side. You have to. You can't be with both of them. You can't. And he seems really confused about the fact that he's in that position. And on top of it, I think I overestimated his integrity, which was dumb on my behalf because he's still very much a Roy and some he might not be a Roy, but he's I think he is, right? Because they're brothers. Him and his grandfather, his great
so
grandfather is his grandfather.
he's a Hirsch. His grandfather is a Roy, but his mother, I guess she married, and her
Oh, and
surname
her name changed.
is now
Okay.
Hirsch. Yeah.
But he's still very much I think my problem was I separated him from the Roy kids because he didn't seem like a spoiled rich kid. When in fact, that may be his problem because it seems like this whole time he's known that yes, I want to do these things, but it's almost like Connor. Like he knew his granddad's money would be there for him. So he wanted to work because it looks like something that you're supposed to do. When in actuality, maybe not. Maybe he just wanted to, like you said, work in parks and be happy because he knew he'd have money anyway. Because this role that he has is clearly nepotism, right? Like he's there because of who he is. It's not like he's got these great credentials. He's there because he's cousin Greg. Yes.
Yeah. No, that's totally correct.
Yeah. So I honestly overestimated him when it came to I guess hard work or integrity or putting himself up by his bootstraps and all of these other things that you think working class people have to do because he wasn't a Roy child, but he seems to be very much still one of them. He's just not as I guess as cutthroat, but maybe he is. I don't know. He just hasn't had to do it yet.
Oh, no, see, that was never a question for me because when we meet him, his mom is like, "Why are you working at a park? You need to go tell these people you're a Roy and you need to march into the building and go get a job." So, no, I kind of knew that was what he was always about. But I think you did mention the part about his integrity, which it seems like he had just a shred of it at least, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore either. Like I think
Mm-mm.
I oh no, I think he's starting to fold into the family and try to pick a position that's best for him, which is, I mean, as admirable as people would like to claim to be in these situations. I mean, people will probably do the same. Oh well.
I I was gonna mention, I'm like, I'm sure giving just being honest, of course, we all want to say, I am this type of person, but you truly don't know who you are until you're in a certain situation. Like that's just honest to God's truth. I don't know a person who hasn't surprised themselves either way. Like you may have thought you would behave in a more negative way and you didn't. So you surprise yourself all the time because you truly don't know who you are until your integrity is tested. You can say you're whatever, but in the situation Greg was in, it's like, okay, so you're telling me I can have this cushy job, whatever I want, and I still get the money from my grandpa, and all I got to do is produce this little document, or I can have all these things and not produce the document or just kind of say that kind of maybe I had it and I'll be fine. Well, sure, I'll take that road. And most people probably would have. And again, Logan's pretty intimidating too. So I won't take that part out of it because he is. So he may
Yeah.
have legit been scared, but I do think it was very interesting for him to pick Logan over his grandfather because in the end, like his grandfather, that's what he did. He kind of did. Well, I won't say kind of. He did. I
His
did
his
say that.
his grandfather is like, I shifted the entire state over, and your part was first. And he was like, well, how do you know that?
How do you even know that? Like, what do you mean? How did I know? I know what I was going to give you. The amount that I said I was going to give you, I gave that away first. That's how I know. But I don't. It's it's really to me what really did it was his reaction to the loss of the money.
Mhm.
It was like, how dare you give my money to charity? And it's not even his. Like, what
Right.
have you done to earn this money other than be born? Nothing. So you haven't earned it in any way. And the fact that you're like so distraught over the fact that your grandfather's giving it away to a great cause, by the way, you're freaking out and trying to sue the man in a loving way, which says that I still respect you and admire you, but I am still suing you respectfully. It's a very
Respectfully.
unserious man. I think it was cool. I was glad that his grandfather said you need to start taking look. He said something like you need to start taking your life more seriously. And
Mm,
that's what it is. Greg's just like a weird man child as well. He's just not
mm,
mean, I guess.
right.
That's what it is. But yeah, I
All
still
right.
don't know what he's doing.
Neither do I. But let's set the scene here. So this is the day of the shareholders meeting. So there are two paths here. Strike a deal. The Roy family strike a deal with Sandy and Sandy, which kind of threw me off for a second, but we'll get to that. So strike a deal with Sandy and Stewy. That sounds like a law firm, or take it to a vote and let the shareholders decide, which is a bit risky considering the events of last episode when they lost Adrian Brody's character, Josh Aronson. Like they clearly lost him. So these are the two options. Um, so so yeah, like we know what happened, obviously, because we just watched the episode, but when they presented these two options, like where did you think it was going to go? Did you think they were going to let it go to a vote, or did you think well, we clearly kind of like foreseen what was going to happen to Logan, but did you think he was going to try to like bank it out through negotiations and make it happen that way?
I honestly thought he was just gonna tell him like he always does to fuck off, and it was gonna go to a vote, and by some miraculous whatever, he was gonna pull it off just like he did with Kendall. But a part of me also thought, like, man, they really might lose the company. I don't know. I honestly did not know till the end. It was really a toss up. I couldn't. If you had made me pick, I would have voted in favor of Logan just because it's one of those things where like evil seems to win in these
Mhm.
situations. But I was nervous for them, you know. But is it a bad thing if they lose the company? Would it be bad? Like for their universe, I mean.
For like the Earth, no, it would be a great thing if
Yeah,
they
like
lost
for
the
the earth,
company.
it would be good, right? So
Yeah,
I'm like, there's a part of me that kind of wants to see what happens if they lose. If Sandy and Sandy are gonna do something different. I already know Stewie's just, again, for the paper. I'm not worried about him, but just wondering what kind of turnaround they would have if it were there. And I kind of want to see it. I also really don't like Logan. Like I don't. I think he's an awful human being, and I would be okay if he loses. I'm
yeah,
actually welcoming it.
yeah. Like I'm at the point where not only does this company need to be dissolved, the family never needs to have a company ever again. Like anything, like I don't care. It could be like a toilet cleaning company. Like they don't need to own anything ever again. They are that terrible. But they kind
It
of
could be
seg
Greenpeace.
it could be Greenpeace. That but it kind of
Yeah.
segues into
Mm-mm.
into the role of the siblings in this episode. So first, let's start with the guy who also
Yeah,
I
let's do
think
it.
is overlooked. Um, Connor, do you start to see the seeds being planted for Connor and how he could be of significance?
Kind of making moves, and I was in a way proud of him. Um, but only because I'm happy for anybody who challenges Logan. Like I just want to make my position known. I do not like Logan Roy at all. Like not even a little bit. So anyone who challenges him, I'm already on their side. Now, the problem with Connor though is that he is also one of those people who is entitled and feels like he's owed everything. So it's a little different, I guess, when it's one of his kids, because I'm like, who are you to challenge him? Because who would you be without him? Right? Is he now, since we're talking about it, is he gonna run for president? Like, is he
He's
gonna go
totally gonna
back into it now? Because he slid out, and I think he might
he's totally
dive
going to
back in
run for
there.
president. So and what lets me know that they're going to set this up. Um, I think that was the last no, that was episode before. Excuse me, when Shiv told Ravenhead to run the story against the president. So the country now knows that the president is kind of off his rocker, and because of that,
Hmm.
he's not going to seek re-election. And he's like, basically, to hell with you and your family and your company, not running for president. Boom, there you go. But because
And it's crazy though, because him being the president actually helps them.
exactly, which is what I'm getting to. So ATN, we basically know is the proxy for Fox News. Whoever is the president, whoever they say is the president is the president. So also I caught a glimpse of the preview of the next episode. It was very much like a kind of like a Bohemian Grove Koch brothers type thing where they were at a round table with a lot of white men, and I was like, so let's pick the next president of the United States. And then
Oh
Connor
wow.
says, I like Connor
I
Roy.
like Conor Roy.
So that would be the ideal situation. But I think the family still wants someone else, and it goes back to what we've been saying every recap. Like they're not taking Connor seriously because if Connor runs this independent, oh, if Connor runs like third party,
I don't think Connor would be good for them. I don't. I think Connor would be bad for them because I think it would be exactly like you said. He would be one of those I have to right the wrongs of my family. And it would start with kind of like coming down on Waystar. I have no doubt in my mind that he would do that. He doesn't seem to have the same loyalty to Logan as the rest of them.
yeah, and I totally think that's what he's gonna do now, simply because, like I said, I think they're setting it up where because in each scene we're seeing him being undermined and not being taken seriously. So I think he's going to say, you know what, I am going to run for president, but I'm not going to do your bidding. And when I win, I'm going to fuck you over, which would kind of be
Hmm.
which would kind of be an interesting take.
He made that threat already, though, right? When he
Hmm.
was talking to Shiv about getting a meeting, so that wouldn't be outside of his character. Because what did he say?
Hmm.
Something about showing the family portrait or the dirty sides of the family
Yeah,
portrait or something to that effect. So it's not, like something that's beneath him. He'd totally do it.
he
I think
would
he'd do
he
it for
would
less. Yeah, keep undermining. He
he
don't
would
care about
totally
that.
he
He's
would
like, look,
totally do it. Like he's waiting. So
he's
So which I'm trying to think which sibling I want to jump to next because I kind of feel like we should save Shield for last, but let's not. Let's get into her now. Can this
I
character
said we
be
could
any
because we
more
could go
annoying?
ahead to Roman.
Could this character be any more annoying?
No.
No, no, no. We got to get
Well,
into Shield.
well, yes. Well, yes, she
Let's
could
not
because
let's not test that.
every episode, every episode she's more annoying. So she's showing us that she has the capacity. a wide, very, very large capacity for annoying people. Specifically her dad,
So
like
I, I'm gl-
most of all.
I'm glad that my read on this was confirmed by episode's end, because this was another situation where it kind of went back to season one. He started to have health issues, and a lot of people started to extrapolate on what they thought he would do in this situation. And through that, they kind of insert their own thing. So when he finally came to, he was like, "Yeah, you totally fucked that over." So to recap, and I didn't realize this until the end of the episode. Shiv gave Sandy another seat, another existing seat. Like that's the key word, existing seat. But with the premise that they would add a seat for the Roy family. Here's the thing. Let's say let's say the board holds a vote about adding this chair and they just say fuck off Roy family. The power structure is now imbalanced. So and and this is the major pitfall of all the kids and trying to come up, trying to have your personal come up, you basically screwed the whole thing.
Here was my thing. Okay. I honestly this time wasn't angry with Siobhan for looking out for herself because nobody else is going to. Nobody else is going to though, because when it comes to their business, she is an idiot and she annoys me at every turn. Now, she is not an idiot in person, like for the earth, but when it comes to Waystar, for sure. And that's very prevalent when it comes to like even with the last episode when people had to call Logan and say, "Hey, tell Shiv to go home, like just to leave us alone." And he said it perfectly. She's like a fly, just buzzing in everybody's ear because she's just always bouncing around, trying to insert herself into something. And it's amazing because I love how they show how everybody else kind of sits back and waits for it's their turn to do their thing. She doesn't. She's very proactive because she doesn't have a thing. She has nothing. She has a vanity title that she's trying to make something else. So, as far as the seats go, her trying to like make it seem as if she was manipulating Sandy while getting something for herself, it looked cute. And it is something that a person who thinks they're smarter than they are would do because you've guaranteed Sandy's seat because who else is going to take it? Sandy's getting that seat because who else could have it? Who else would but Sandy? Shiv opened this seat up saying knowing that we know she's opening it up because she wants it. And then the first thing she says when she tells Logan, I mean, it could be for anybody. I mean, for Connor, or for me, why would you even mention Connor? Why would you say his name? Why would you make it that the seat was for anybody else? Why not say, this is what I did. I'm gonna stand in it. She's got a seat for her if we get a seat for me. And that's what we negotiated, and that's what happened. But she didn't do that because she's not smart. She's smart. Is she smart? I don't know.
She's
Smart.
she's like,
She's something.
yeah, she's just not, maybe she's clearly just not built for this. But one thing I wanted to
Mm-mm.
bring up is as we shift to Kendall, you notice that these two siblings are starting to mimic their fathers, that their father, but both in like very poor like ways. So with Shiv, the way she inserts herself and tries to like tell everyone what to do, and they basically tell her to fuck off. And how Logan conducts his meetings, where he walks into a room and he's like, "Okay, I need my A team here. This is what we do." That's what that's what Kendall tries to do, but he has just some security guy, somebody who's clearly like a blogger or a New York Post columnist, but he's trying to recreate the same thing. And it's like, and it's almost sad watching this because it's like these people are so damn pitiful. They're trying so much to be their father, but it's not, you ain't got it. Like regardless
You
of what
ain't
we say
got
about
it.
Logan, like he clearly like commands a room like that, but you people don't got it. You ain't got it.
Logan was smart enough to surround himself with people who are very smart. Because I don't know anybody that's like, and maybe I'm biased because I like her, but where's Kendall's Jerry? Where's Kendall's Frank? And he tried to poach these people because he knows they're good. And then he just went and picked somebody to be, like you said, the body to 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 in his mind impersonate this person. And then like you said, the bloggers that he has or the influencers or whatever they are, and I'm sure they're somebody special because they command quite a bit of money in tweets and all of these things. He doesn't respect them at all because any piece of advice she gives him, he totally disregards it. That doesn't happen with Logan. Logan will tell people to fuck off, but he will listen to his people when it's time because he trusts that they know what they're doing. Kendall wants, he's got a group full of yes people. And even when they try to push back, he completely ignores them. Completely. Like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but this is what I'm going to do. Because didn't she advise him not to go on stage?
Yeah.
We see how it went. And then once he did, and it went bad because it was bad. It was bad. They placated him with, "Oh, the reviews seem fine. The tweets look good." I'm like, life is more than Twitter, and I know that it is a big deal, but there's a whole set of people in this world who couldn't care less about social media. And when you're in it, while you're on it, you think everything on there is what's going on in the world, but that's not the case. And I've seen it because I've been on both sides. I've been in situations where I wasn't on Twitter and then when I was, and the things that people think are so important because it's trending mean nothing to people who aren't looking at it. So you've got to put that stuff into consideration. So Kendall thinking that tweets are good or tweets or whatever else, that's not the world. Especially with all these older people who are, the shareholders and all this other stuff. They don't care about your tweets.
You raise an excellent point because we got to think about this as if it's Fox News. So for people who have like just an unfathomable amount of money, like the real currency is like influence, information, yada yada yada. Think about Fox News and how most of their people receive information. Like it's in
Fox
like
News.
the is exactly it's in like the lower bellies of whatever. So if those people are watching the shareholders meeting and they see his goofy ass on stage, they're gonna be like, "What is this idiot doing?" They're not gonna care what Twitter is saying because they're gonna get whatever the spin that Fox News is putting on it. And for bright as Kendall can be sometimes, this is the part where Logan is actually right. Like he has to keep reminding him like what really matters. Like when Logan
Mhm.
was about to buy the cable networks and Kendall thought that was stupid, he was like, "But we have like worldwide influence, though. That's why we're buying cable." And as devious and evil as that is, he's right. But Kendall thinks people care about basically the algorithm, social media, yada yada yada. But like you said, like if I if I go to somebody in real life and say it's the blank for me or whatever, they can be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like
What?
exactly.
What are you talking? And I love when you use that example because that's what people say all the time. Even people on Twitter will say if you're not on Twitter, you try to use the lingo or the jargon, and then you have to go and explain to all of these people what this stuff means. I'm like, that should prove to you right there that this is a subset of the world. There's a whole vast world out here. Just because you don't watch TV doesn't mean people still don't watch TV. Because you don't listen to the radio doesn't mean people still don't listen to the radio. And it's more than this, right? It's more than just this site. There's still very much information that comes from cable. A lot of it, a whole lot of it, which is why we are in the situation we're in as far as America. Lord, help us, please. But Kendall should be smarter than that, especially being raised in this media. Like this is your life. Why is it not making? Why isn't he grasping it? Is it Logan's fault? Like, has he not really taught them for
So
real?
so all right. Each kid has a part of Logan, but thing is they got like one. everything added into their individual pot. So, um, like for instance, like Roman clearly has his racism and ruthlessness. Um, Siobhan has his smarts, but minus everything else. Kendall has his business acumen, but not just common sense and everything else. But what they all have is greed as well. So
Mm.
they all want to be the top person because there's only one Logan Roy, but they all want to be the Logan Roy. So they're stabbing each other forward. But every time they make a decision that seems like a good decision, they also have to insert a piece of themselves that blows everything up. And I almost thought when this episode started that because Kendall was trying to play back and forth, he was actually going to push the family into a deal that was like, well, actually, you know what? He did.
He
He
did.
did. He pushed the family into a deal that
He did.
trying to
That
play
is
like,
exactly what he did.
mhm, but yeah,
And they fell. And I don't I'm hesitating to say they fell for it because I don't think Kendall did this intentionally, but it definitely worked the way he wanted it to. Because he didn't want to go to a vote either, and he wanted, Stewie and Sandy on, I guess, his side or whatever. And it looks like he is making him and Stewie are just kind of instigating, really. That's what it is. Because, they were calling each other kind of panicking because both of them have a Logan, but Sandy is just not mean and he's a vegetable. But in this situation, it was that way because Logan might as well have been one this episode.
yeah,
So I don't know. It's weird. It's very, very weird. I honestly thought Logan might die. I thought he was gonna die. It would have been a
yeah,
weird time, but I thought he was gonna die. I did. I thought
yeah.
he was just
I,
gonna fall out and die.
like there was part of me that was like, oh, this is it. So he dies with the imaginary cat under his chair, like
Hmm.
with the UTI.
And it's none of them. And now Stewie and Sandy take over the company, and the kids just figure it out. Oh my God, this is the last season, and they just didn't tell us. Like I really
Mm.
thought he was about to die. I did. I'm gonna. There's a part of me that's glad he didn't because I want to see where it goes, especially now since he's blocked Kendall permanently, whatever that means. But if he had died, I would have been like, that's fine too.
So yeah, here's the thing with Kendall, like the whole going on stage thing. I think that I I think Logan was like, okay, you know what? Like, no, seriously, like, fuck you after this. Like, there's really no. So I think he's about to go nuclear, like Kendall, because after that, I think he was like, you know what? I can take the games. I could take you playing, Nirvana songs during press conferences. I could take you going on, Z-Way show, but to do this, like it is seriously over. And I think, and just this little subtle move, that's why he called him to this fake meeting, but didn't show up because he was just like, hey, when I call, you still come, but I'm not gonna
Hmm.
make time for you anymore. So fuck off. So going forward, yeah, he's gonna go nuclear on Kendall, and you could kind of see Kendall with that, oh, what have I done type look, because he knows that it's about to be a wrap now.
Well, and again, I still didn't understand his thinking when it came to this either, because like you said, it's gonna be a wrap. The only thing that he has that may still be, I guess, a ace in the hole is the DOJ, and it sounds like they're not really gonna pursue anything. So I don't
Because
know.
we now have a lame duck president. So
Right.
and on top of that, like even before that, Kendall was kind of saying like, "Hey, the investigation is drying up unless I like toss them some meat." So this investigation is pretty much gonna slow down.
Yeah, it's over. I feel like it's over. I mean, like you said, I did look at the preview and I saw some him being questioned, but I don't think that's gonna lead to anything,
Nah.
if nothing else. But since we're talking about tossing people meat, you wanna go to Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. Shiv really freaked out that he was tracking her cycle. Um,
Which I must never mind. I must say it's
it's
very
not really that
vital.
odd. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. I'm gonna say it. It's not really that strange, right?
It's
Like
not strange at all.
this
It's
is
in fact,
your wife. He should know this. Like he should know. He should know. It's not it happens the same time. Like it's not weird. Okay, fine. Deandra said it. It's not strange that her husband is tracking her cycle. Tracking her cycle is a little strange, but that he
I was
knows
about to
when she's
say,
about to start it, that's different.
especially considering they were raised Catholic, it's not, it's not, it's
I
not strange at
mean,
all.
it's not weird, but she's seeing it, of course, as more than him just knowing her cycle. She's seeing it as him knowing when she's ovulating, which means she's thinking he's just trying to get her pregnant, which turns out is the case. That's what he's trying to do. And he said, I mean, I'm just saying it'll keep you not company. I think what he really meant was it'll keep you out these streets while I'm in prison, which it probably won't, by the way. Just saying, she probably still get it in.
Also, it'll
But
probably keep me with some,
now I got my child support, right? Like I'm good. But it'll keep you from divorcing me, which it won't. I mean,
it
it
won't.
won't. It won't. But at least he'll have a Roy child and he will be entitled to his child. Um, there's no part of me that believes that Shiv wants to have a baby at all with Tom.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's trying to like have one now and they just got married is weird anyway. He's not hiding the prison thing anymore, which I did pick up on. Like she seems to be like
Mhm.
okay with just flat out talking about him going to prison. And that's
Yeah.
she's just awful. I just hate her. I hate her. I don't want to because girl power, but I really don't like her at all. Not even a little
Th-
bit.
This is the one time where women don't get it done. They simply
Uh,
don't. Like, if
well, Sandy got it done.
Sandy did get it done because
Sandy
she's
got it done.
uh, I guess in the battle with the vegetables, she has the better vegetable because she certainly got it done. And
Is what he call her meat puppet. Which one's the meat puppet? The other Sandy is the meat
yeah,
puppet.
the one who could talk. Yeah.
He's awful. Logan, I mean Roman is awful. Like that's a terrible thing to say about somebody. Terrible. But I'm glad you mentioned that it did just kind of happen because I was like, I don't remember him being sick, and now he's just like super sick.
Hmm.
And I didn't remember that because I remember them having a conversation. I want to say last season, or maybe it was season one. I don't remember, but I remember him speaking, and then now I'm like, oh, has he always been this way? But the answer is no. But anyway, um, Siobhan, I'm sorry, Tom. It it looks like Tom would be the one to go to prison though, because even when Kendall mentioned to Greg that he would burn him, he's like, "You're just pretty much like the bait to get Tom or Frank." So it's like Tom is messed up either way, unless he gets immunity,
So
which I
I
guess.
have so here's something that I've been pondering.
Hold, you holding out on me?
No, no, no. This actually just came up when I saw this preview. So we all know when Kendall is under pressure, he starts stammering, he starts sweating, he starts stuttering. What if when he is what if what if when he is interrogated by the DOJ, he unintentionally implicates himself?
Mm, it wouldn't be surprising. Like not at all, because Kendall doesn't prepare for anything because he also thinks he's smarter than he is. He's just not as annoying as Siobhan, but he does. He just thinks he's gonna go into wherever he is, and he's got this idea that he's like super charming or something. I don't I don't know because that's what he thought. The same thing with Z-Way. He was just gonna walk in there and just charm her pants off and make her. They were gonna have this banter, but it wasn't gonna go like that. She was gonna destroy him, and it's probably very good that he didn't go on her show.
It's very
But
good.
I think he might, like you said, he may implicate himself. I wouldn't be surprised.
Which is when he would certainly need a Greg or a Tom.
Well, what if he mistakenly what if he burns him anyway because of that? Like he gets himself in a hole and to dig himself out, he throws out Greg or Tom.
I actually think
Probably
he.
Greg before Tom.
So here's the thing. I actually think unknowingly he out of everybody has like the least amount of leverage because he is of the Roy family. He has a position within the family. So you knew about this. Why didn't you tell anyone sooner?
And Logan's already thrown him under the bus in front of Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the hearing, didn't he just pretty much say, "Oh, that was you, right?
Like,
That was
like
him."
that's your boy right there.
He got it. He got it.
Yeah.
It's one next to me. He got it. And he got himself out the hole. But they threw Tom out there naked though.
Oh yeah, they.
They did not prepare him at all. Because he didn't know what to say when they brought up molester. He was like, yeah. I don't know what anybody would say when you bring something up like that, but still. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still interested to see what he does because that whole thanks son, did he think Tom was Connor?
Like, it doesn't it it doesn't matter who Tom thinks he was or wasn't. The fact that he heard
Son.
the fact that he heard Logan use a term of endearment in his direction, he was just like, "Oh, thanks, Papa." Like,
Thanks,
look,
Papa.
the
I'm like,
man's
they dad like everybody else.
the man's penis is hanging out of his pants, and he does not know where he is. Like, please don't take that with a like, yeah, no, be
Just
smarter than that.
deal, yeah. Like you said, take it with a grain of salt and move on because this isn't love at all. He's delirious. He's
Exactly.
literally delirious. That's what he's doing right now, and you're eating it up because, gosh, he's awful. Tom is pretty spineless. That's the word I'm looking for. It's another word I want to use, but I won't. He's very spineless, and
Yeah.
yeah. Mm.
So
So who's
so yeah.
left? Romulus.
Yeah. Roman once again. And this was like the perfect episode for him because he was just like just throwing like the zingers around, like didn't have a lot to do. And like I said, he really gave this episode like the Veep vibes. So he was hilarious all
Mhm.
episode, but the call the call with the president was pretty funny.
He is what you mentioned. It was cool. It was interesting that you mentioned that when it came down to it, everybody kind of says, "What would he do?" And Rome was the one who knew
Mhm.
because he knew that he wouldn't have gone with that deal. He knew he wasn't going to go let those PJs fly. He knew that it was all humiliation, and all of them knew that. Like they were trying to, humiliate him and just kind of like make him eat shit, as he says. But Rome was like, no, he'd tell him to fuck off because he would.
And you know why? Like we all said that. Well, I know I previously said that each sibling has like greed on top of that, but he's the only child who is so afraid of his father he won't try to fuck him over for his own gain. Like he still wants what he wants,
Mhm.
but that's why he
Yep.
goes with Logan every single time because he's like, when dad wakes up, you're not gonna say
You're
I'm
in
the one
trouble.
who told yeah, who told him to do this. So nah, like leave me out of it. This is what he would want. So the fact that he would pick up on that, it kind of shows you that like that fear kind of keeps him in check. And he was like, nah, let's go with what dad wants and not what I want, but through the vessel of our father. Like, nah, this is what he wants. He would say, fuck off, fuck that deal.
Yeah, and like you said, it's because he's legitimately afraid of him. The rest of the kids have a fearful respect, I guess. Roman has full out fear. Like fear that something's gonna happen to him because I'm sure that it has. Like we mentioned before, he's gotten the beatings, he's gotten his tooth knocked out as an adult. He's been abused, so he's afraid of him.
Mhm.
And with that, he still wants the love. He wants the softer side of Logan, which is why he went right to his side after Shiv, got berated and was like, Shiv being a bitch. And I'm like, yeah. Why what is her deal though? Why won't she leave him alone? Like there have been a couple times in particular, two now. One when she was like, "Why don't you just tell him it's me?" I'm like, "What are you doing? Why would you do that?" And then two today when he's talking to Jerry, when she's like, "What? Don't you just want to savor this once you drink?" And I'm like, "Why are you bothering him right now? I don't read the room, Siobhan."
Yeah, I was about to say, so when every other kid has to, for like a better words, eat shit. They know that they're doing it, but she doesn't for some reason. And to go back to what Connor said, you remember when you used to stamp the mail that came into the house? It's kind of like this. Like you're like she thinks she's some confidant. She thinks she's some like top person in the company, but everything she says, he's just like you can kind of see on his face is like that's the dumbest shit I ever heard. We're gonna do this. And he like like every single time.
He does, and she never catches on until he humiliates her because it seems like that's what he has to do to get her to chill out. And I hate it because I hate that he humiliates her like that because he does. When it's bad. Because today was bad because he was calm and she just kept on, and then he tried to sort of leave it alone. I'm trying to talk about something important with Jared now. Will you please stop buzzing in my fucking? And he's loud, and it's so funny because everybody else just kind of like doesn't react at all. They're just kind of like, oh, here goes Siobhan being Siobhan again, and that's how I know that nobody takes her seriously.
No, no.
It's maybe because she's the baby and they're just used to the baby being annoying, and it's nothing. It's just like, oh, the baby being annoying again. Just like I said, like last week, it was almost like how I don't know if you did you ever go with their parents when it was take your child to work day?
No.
Even if you didn't, you can kind of imagine how it
Yeah.
is. It's like you're there with all these adults and they kind of like smile and hey, how you doing? It's so good to see you. Oh, you look just like your mom and blah 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 blah. And they might give you these like, remedial tasks to do so that it looks like you're doing something, but it's really to get you out of my way because I have work to do. And that's exactly how it was when she was in the office, going from place to place, trying to find stuff. And Frank and who's the other one? Frank
Or
and what's his name? Carl. Yeah. They were like, well, trying to eat lunch. And she's just talking. And she just kept talking. Well, let's do this and let's do this. And it's like, hey girl, you ain't running
also,
around here. Just go sit.
also, like I don't know why I didn't realize this. Carl is the damn CFO of the company
EFO. I found that out today.
today. So the fact that you march yourself into a room and said like, "Hey, Mr. CFO, go do this," and Carl just looked at her like, "Do you know who I am?"
The CFO running. And then damn, I didn't know that Frank was the what is he, the vice chairman?
Yeah.
I knew they were higher up, so I didn't know they were that. She went to ask the CFO. She all right man. Just Siobhan, ladies and gentlemen. Siobhan Roy.
So yeah. So yeah,
I
I
just
I seriously I don't know why she doesn't realize that her sole purpose of being here is the fact that one, she to rip her away from fake Bernie Sanders, and two, simply because he needs strength in numbers. Like that's really her only role.
And three, she's a woman, and he
Right.
could use the positive press. We love women. See, my own daughter, that's what most men, that's what they go to. I have a sister, I have a mother, I have daughters. Okay. And that's what's happening here. So yeah, I don't know. Um, I guess my only question is, what's Kendall? Is he in big trouble now? Because Logan's got the company back now, right? And how long does that put them out of danger as far as voting and all of this stuff? Like,
I
look,
don't.
I guess the next shareholders meeting, is that when they decide again next year?
So I don't think it's over with this deal because I think now Logan is going to try to figure some way to wiggle out of it. But the fact that
Yes.
Kendall did what he did, to quote my man Jose Mourinho, he's in big trouble. I don't want to speak because if I speak, I might be in big trouble. But no, he's in big trouble. Like seriously, like he
I
is.
prefer not to speak.
I prefer not to speak. No, but no, seriously, he is in big trouble.
He should be though, because I'm with you. There's a time, there's a place. And Kendall, you still work for this company. And to put on these this production or these antics in front of the shareholders, that wasn't smart.
Yeah,
Like going
because
up to the office, that's one thing. Like whatever. Like you go up to the office, it's a mess. But fine, you actually work there, go up to the office. But let's put up a unified front in front of these shareholders. You see what just happened with Josh. Now you're in front of everybody? That's not smart, Kendall.
if it
Not
goes
smart
to a
at
vote,
all.
if things go to a vote now,
We're in trouble. But I will say he waited till after they had already announced it, right? Yeah, because Carl was up there announcing it when he jumped on stage.
but the lawyers are still banging it out. You know, what if the Sandys say like, you know what, like, no, fuck that deal we made. Back to hostile takeover. And here's the thing, like, I'm not going to diminish like the implications of like the findings, yada yada yada. But as far as like
Mhm.
Kendall's moves go, like that was still stupid as hell. Like, why would you do that?
And say their name. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to co-opt another movement, and people are, again, doesn't matter what your Twitters or positivity or what your Twitter things say. People are going to see through that. They are. They're gonna see through it, and then you're gonna look like a fraud. And now Logan's icing you out. Logan has dirt on you. Shiv has already told people that you're an unstable deadbeat dad, and now you killed a rabbit. So now what? The rabbit's gonna die.
The rabbit is gonna
Gonna die.
die. He's gonna
The
fire.
rabbit's gonna die.
Um,
Which
yeah,
is yet another instance of Kendall not listening to the people around him. Because the girl said clear as day, hey, the rabbit ain't supposed to eat the bagel. I looked it up. It's not supposed to happen. Oh, it's fine. Give it a little. No,
no,
it's not supposed to have it. So just tell Sophie no. Don't give the rabbit the bagel.
yeah,
Kendall.
because just imagine if Logan has his round table and Jerry says, "No, I don't think the rabbit should have the bagel," and then Logan's gonna say, "Don't give the fucking rabbit the bagel," and then that's gonna be it. So at least he
Mhm.
listens to his people when he makes decisions. But Kendall's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
My dad says the rabbit can have it, so it's fine. It's fine. And but see, we have proof of this because the FBI, perfect example. Logan was like, tell him to fuck off, and Jared was like, no, no, no. This is what we have to do. Are we doing it? We're doing it. Yes. Okay, cool. We're doing it. And that's the kind of people you need. Kendall has no, does he have anybody that's not a yes man other than his
yeah."
lawyer?
He has not a single person, not even his lawyer. He has not a single person who
He works for him. Yep.
advice he takes seriously because he wants self gratification. Like he wants like people that hype him up. So even and thing is, like you say, even when people they try to give him advice, he like brushes it off.
To try to save him from himself, and he won't allow it
Right.
because he's a huge man child with daddy issues. He even admits that when they went to
Mm-hmm.
therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, uh, bad, bad, bad. We shall see. Is Tom going to jail? That's what I'm asking now. That's my final question of the day. Is anybody going to jail? I don't think anybody's going to go to jail, to be honest.
Nobody's going to jail. Nobody's going to jail.
I don't think anybody's going to go. I think it's just going to be,
No, nobody.
I don't know. But Logan's sick, no? Or do you think it was legit just the UTI? Like the meds, okay. Like he was off his rocker because he didn't take the meds. But he's still sick, right?
Yeah.
Or he's just
So
old.
there are his well, he's old as hell for starters. There's his existing condition, then this UTI, then his
The
damn
UTI.
ankle. Like, yeah, the old vessel is breaking down. Yeah,
It's like breaking. But see, this I lied. This is my last question. Why is Sandy less vulnerable as a vegetable? He's not a vegetable. He's not at full capacity. But why is he um I guess it seems that he's not as vulnerable as Logan is, but he's more sickly. He being Sandy. So why isn't Sandy as vulnerable as Logan? Does he not own as much? Because I'm sure nobody owns anything as large as Logan. But even Sandy was like, "It's not a big deal. We'll just go to another company and take that one over." So it's personal. That's the only reason why he wants way so
yeah.
bad.
So basically, like just to recap, Stewie got his way into the company by basically consolidating the Roy family debt and buying all of it. So he
Mhm.
basically now owns a part of that company because he owns their debt. Like he took their debt off the books. On top of that, they were able to finagle another seat. So they're just like, if this doesn't work out, whatever. So like
Mhm.
you're screwed either way, but we're gonna get what we want or we'll get what we want from somebody else. So it doesn't matter to us. So and also from Sandy's standpoint, Stewie isn't inserting himself into negotiations because once again he's just like, hey, I'm just here for the money. Like whatever y'all work out is cool with me because I have nothing to lose here. And also Sandy with an I, his daughter, like even though she was like kind of like upping the stuff, like she was doing it in a way that was like both petty, but also they lose nothing. In fact, they gain more by doing these things
They
because
gained.
you have to they have to they being the Roy family have to agree to these things or else they'll go to a vote and they'll lose it for nothing. So yeah, they like that's why Sandy is actually in the better position right now.
Yeah, much better. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. And Logan's so mean. Plus, he has 4 kids to argue with. It seems like Sandy's just got the one, so maybe
Yeah.
that's easier.
Yeah.
You know. Well, yeah, there we go. I have nothing more.
Yeah. And neither do I. So
She's so terrible.
so yeah, we will take our imaginary cat and we'll run away. Thanks for listening. On this episode of on last week's episode. Just to toss out some things as you're listening to these recaps, go back and listen to our other recaps. Be thinking about your favorite shows of this year. We're gonna ask for your feedback to listeners. We want to know what you watched this year because of course it's November already and we're coming up on our end of the year list. So be thinking about things that you've liked this year and maybe I don't know, maybe we'll do like another round of giveaways. I don't know. We have to crack the piggy bank open. We'll see. But
Had to see. Had to see what the quarterly earnings were.
Yeah, we'll have to dig into the couch for some change. But yeah,
check with our CFO. See how
yes.
we're looking.
But yes, thanks for listening, and until next time, peace.
Peace.